No time for fancy titles or introductions tonight. Something has happened. Something has shifted. And an individual who carries the blood of kings has found something, awoken something. Something horrible and wonderful, frightening and awe-inspiring all at once. And as Craig Ainsworth sits in his haven, going through the events of this evening, he sits in utter silence or perhaps with background noise of a TV or other items going on in the background. What is Craig doing?
Craig is doing something he hasn't done since college. He's physically writing in a notebook with a pen. And none of it has any aim. He rambles about the space between the stars and the whole at the center of everything, about the expansion of nothing into the universe and the things beyond the void. He writes about time being a repetitive series of events, a never ending racetrack the void is looking to encroach on, how everything that's happened will happen again. Everything that will happen goes in an infinite cycle. How all life has been predetermined since its very inception. And even the static things that creep and crawl amongst the living are beholden to the same burdensome cyclical process.
Well, describe Craig's haven, where it is, what it's like.
So, Craig's Haven is a little more outbound than most. Um, he is definitely straddling that border between Camarillo and Independent Territory, mostly because it is in a warehousing district. Craig has been fortunate enough to occupy a lot with some shared fencing. So he actually has two buildings. Now, one of the buildings is predominantly empty, save for some slack pieces of furniture. It's almost a dummy haven, as it were. It's beholden to the same punch code security systems. It has lights, running water, but it's not nearly as nice as the main haven. In the middle is an empty area with concrete floor that was obviously meant to stock things that just aren't there anymore. And on the lower floor is a bathroom and what was at least once a break area. Still very tackily furnished. The top floor is three rooms after that, at least in this one building. Um, One is the room where Craig keeps his what few weapons and other expensive items he has. That one has a separate lock. Another room is one that's in the middle between that and where he is now. That is where he sleeps. It has no windows, and the door is the one with the closest relationship to the floor. In essence, it's as close to light tight as you're going to get as a neonate. And the room he's in now is a study. There are bookshelves with very few books, aside from the ones that he actually bought off the twins. And there is a desk and a chair. We're not talking IKEA. We're talking like IKEA's ugly cousin in terms of the quality of the furniture.
So, Target.
Ouch.
Am
Man,
I wrong?
no comment. But it's all very Spartan. It's all very threadbare. It's almost like Craig didn't have that much use for things that were too ostentatious. Everything's clean, everything's functional, but he never really pushed the accoutrements of this place past that.
It sounds like a really nice place. In that really nice place, his phone begins to go off.
Craig stares at it as the dulcet tones of "Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?" just goes in the loop. He picks it up to see who's calling.
Jocelyn.
He answers.
Mr. Ainsworth. Craig.
Yeah.
We need to speak with you. In
Bet you
person.
do. Okay. Okay, I'll calm down.
Thank you. The line hangs up.
Craig puts the notebook away and goes into the weapons room and considers the literal 3 weapons he owns. Decides on the brass knuckles. And then goes down and out and locks everything up as he goes along, goes into the parking lot. It was a place that, between these 2 buildings was meant for far more cars than what it currently holds. So it holds is a powder blue Prius and a BMW. He knows the paperwork's gone along for the BMW. He's confident here, man. He just paid off his tags. And gets in the BMW and decides to drive that down there.
She come to the bookstore, and it's about 12:15 in the a.m. Not so close to dawn that it would be considered dangerous by any stretch of the imagination. But you come up to the bookstore. You've been here at least twice, maybe more times. Hard to say for sure. You all eventually lose track. But waiting just inside is a friendly face, someone you know. And she's sitting there with what looks to be a teacup, and she's actually sitting up on the counter. The sign on the door says closed, but she is sitting out there in the storefront, as obvious as anyone, plain for the eye to see.
Craig walks in.
Lock the door behind you, Craig.
Yeah. He locks the door. I ask you why you drink coffee, but I think I understand.
How are you doing this evening? You holding together?
I'm here.
She gives you a smile. Seems to be a understanding smile. And she'll slide off of the counter and pat you on the shoulder. A lot of things happened tonight, didn't they?
Yeah.
Things never going back to the way they used to be.
They always were, but they also always weren't. So I guess it evens out.
I'm going to show you something. Something I haven't shown anyone outside of my circle.
Craig nods.
And she will lead Craig to the back of the shop. Instead of going up, she comes to a door. The door says employees only. And she uses a regular set of keys to open it. And it looks like little more than just like a mop, like a broom closet. However, she moves the mop bucket out and pulls out the sort of that vinyl mat, and it's cut so that way it specifically fits everything just perfectly. When she pulls it away, there's a trapdoor, and it has a keyhole for what looks to be like an old brass key, which Jocelyn produces and opens. And it reveals a very tight and narrow sort of spiral staircase, like that to a cellar. When we bought this building, we bought it because it was built built during the Cold War era. It had lots of features to it that were amenable to people that are sensitive to the sun. And she'll begin to walk down, or really more shimmy down, but she makes her way down.
Craig will follow.
You get down to what looks to be like an old world, an old Cold War bomb shelter. And she'll lead you down a hall to what looks to be just a simple oak door. She'll open it. And inside is a library. And the books that are in there are all they're on a level that bookstore upstairs wouldn't dare put out for anyone, just anyone to see. Welcome to my humble abode. My collection of the things that I could say that I truly love.
Whether or not you're in an existential funk, it's really hard not to be taken aback by a collection of this magnitude. So Craig definitely does have a moment of minor awe here.
I have volumes and codexes that go back well over 1,000 years that I have scrimped and saved and put together bit by bit over my lifetime and my unlife. She'll walk over, pull a book out. This one here, a personal manuscript written by James Madison. It's a good read. Chronicles all the way back to the founding of this country. This one over here predates this country by almost 500 years, telling of events from an era that I can sparsely imagine. And then she'll gesture to a small alcove, which has like an iron gate with a padlock, but you can see through the iron gate. And in there, you can see 3 books, which have similar builds to the books that you found today. Though they're just made of different materials. One's gold, one is silver, and the other one is made of what looks to be like quartz or limestone. Beautiful as they are, they won't be mine for all that much longer. We have to go far away from here.
people truly valued this existence, they would have been destroyed a long time ago.
The books are only secondary, right? The books are part of a legacy that belongs to no one else but those of a specific bloodline. And in the hands of those that would be reckless, would be usurpers, they are highly dangerous. Those two volumes that, and she'll point to the silver and limestone one. I spent a good part of my own life decoding, learning, and translating. I learned a great deal about the lineage of Sutek and his children, and all the mind-bogglingly horrible things that they've done throughout existence. Sedites had a lot to answer for. And if their father came back in this world to destroy them, probably all the better, wouldn't you say?
I saw.
I know you did. I've seen it myself. And she'll walk over to a door on the far side of the room, and she'll knock on it. The door opens. And a little bit less intimidating, a woman of unspeakable beauty, standing a little bit over 5 feet 6 inches, steps out, clad in attire that's a little bit less Raggedy Ann. And she has a smile on her face.
Why can't I feel you wherever I go?
Powers of the mind that are as potent as mine go beyond the realm of traditional vampiric disciplines, Mr. Ainsworth. You happen to be in a place where I was communing what was left of my father's legacy. You tapped into something, plugged into something I was plugged into, most unexpectedly. She'll sort of gesture towards one of the couches, and she'll sit down on the one across from it.
Craig will sit.
Sure, you have questions. I'll answer what I can. before I start making requests of you.
I saw it. The hole. It's growing.
You saw a portion of what happened. But you did see the death of almost an entire race of people, an entire bloodline of vampires, a clan. Hundreds of thousands of lives and unlives lost in an instant. Fairly spectacular, wasn't it?
Except for you. Why?
I found something else. Something older than even him. My blood is no longer tied to his. I found an entire bloodline of individuals that had been maligned by their progenitor, abused, hunted, and betrayed. And I bound myself to them, and by extension, to something even older. Now my witches seek to collect all the knowledge that the Sedites left behind and take it away. Away from the children of the antediluvians.
He'll sell his life to destroy it before he lets you have it.
Who?
The loudest person on this earth.
The gangrel. I have given Jocelyn permission to teach him, make him unique among his peers, to give him something he thinks he wants. As long as I can keep those books from getting in the hands of the Tremere, there's a chance that Sedite sorcery will disappear from this world as it's meant to be. And the only practitioners of it are bound from ever sharing it and never letting it back out into this world. I have not much quarrel with the ivory tower, other than the usurpers, the Tremere.
The tower has quarrel with you.
I'm well aware. They weren't happy about what I did to their Justicar, and understandably so.
When they come for me, and they will come for me, I don't think there's that much time I can buy, really.
But if I could take away from you everything you've seen, I made it all a hazy blur. Normally I wouldn't ask, but Jocelyn here seems to be very fond of you.
Craig
Being
looks like he's really thinking about this.
And given that she's been useful, I feel I can grant her this request.
It wouldn't do that much good.
What makes you say that?
Because I wasn't the only person there.
You're the only person that saw deep. You're the only one that knows of my connection to Jocelyn and Nina.
I think you were counting on that.
I've trusted their judgment for several decades now.
When they puncture my mind, they'll see it too. I don't think they'll survive. I barely did.
Jocelyn and Nina are witches of Echidna. They'll do just fine on their own.
Not them.
She'll cant her head to one side.
The Tremere. Or the Ventru. My mind was more open. Other people reached me first.
Do you know what's nice, Craig, about people who are so convinced they're always right?
What?
Reinforce it, and they'll trick themselves into believing their own hype. How easy would it be for you to be able to go through the rest of your nights, not knowing what you saw, having it be nothing but a distant and vague memory?
Too easy.
Sometimes hiding in plain sight is the greatest way to remain obfuscated.
You asked as a matter of formality, hoping I'd give you a simple answer. Not for yourself, but to placate her. My fate was sealed when I walked into this room. Maybe before then. I can't quite tell. But what I know, you know too. This will happen again, and again, and again. Until the circle breaks anyway.
So then what is your desire, Mr. Ainsworth? Do you wish to carry on and do as the ivory tower commands you? Do you wish to end? Do you wish for something more?
I'll bear witness until I'm forced to stop.
Realize I can't let you leave here knowing about their true purpose here.
To be fair, I didn't think I was going to be leaving at all, so.
Well, the nice thing about resentment is it makes you wish to be nothing like those that you loathe. I could make you an offer, you know.
That being,
You join our cause. I could spirit you away from here. Start a new life. Helping rid the world of Set's influence. With any luck, make sure that he remains slumbering. At least until the end times come. You would leave everything behind.
There's something else I have to do.
She smiles at you. You're a man of conviction.
I'm a pissed off kid on a revenge tear. I want to do what a lot of us want to do. I'm going to find my maker, and I'm going to kill them.
She gets a big toothy grin at that. Hmm. I would offer to help you do that, but it would rob you of the satisfaction, I think, of doing it yourself. What is the kill if the hunt isn't sporting, after all? She'll look past you. Jocelyn. Yes. Pack up everything. Burn the rest. We're done here. What you told me is true? I do believe Mr. Ainsworth and his contemporaries will make sure that those books never get into the hands of the Tremere. Jocelyn just nods and goes about gathering up the 3 volumes of some import. I suppose this might be the end of the line of operations here.
We don't know how to destroy them. I don't even know their locations. I didn't trust myself to know.
You can't destroy them. These volumes were created by Sutek's closest inner circle, members of the old clan that were nearly as powerful as the highest ranked Tremere. The magic that's within them to be undone would be nothing short of miraculous. That being said, put them in the hands of the Nosferatu, they'll disappear. Between a clan that serves both the tower themselves and the Sword of Cain, there are many places they have to hide among many different sects. And there's a good chance if they go into those hands, they'll end up in mine eventually. As long as they're with me. I doubt there's a kindred in this world that could take them from me.
The Nosferatu have chosen to support the Gangrel in their endeavors.
Which doesn't surprise me.
I don't know the direction the Gangrel are headed in.
What I know of you, of their primogen, she's brash, independent, and impulsive. But moreover, when she sees a wrong being committed, she is willing to push back, especially against authority. In any event, I would rather see them in the hands of your primogen, your Gangrel primogen, or your Nosferatu primogen in the hands of the Tremere Regent. That is for sure. I would assume that at least two of the volumes are within your possession, or at least within your company's possession.
At least. Maybe more. Not sure.
Well then, I suppose we'll see where this all ends up.
What
And as
does...
Jocelyn's moving around, you see that she is grabbing only select books from these volumes before she comes back down with a looks to be a bottle of lighter fluid.
Yeah, before you do that, can I have that manuscript you were talking about?
Which one?
The one by, shit. Forgot. I'm just gonna take a book, man. These knowledge is special.
Jocelyn will stop and pull out from her bag the manuscript from James Madison, and she'll hand it over. That book is priceless, you know.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want it to be on fire.
She smiles. You know, Mr. Ainsworth, I knew a venture once. I loved adventure at one point.
Don't suppose you two are still a thing.
Unfortunately, he's no longer living through unlife.
Take out what you have to take out. I'll find my way home after. I always do.
I'd like to offer you a gift before you go.
What's that?
Something you'll never be able to learn in any other way.
Craig is paying attention.
Power of the blood, let's say. One that's, as of now, almost completely extinct.
I'm listening.
She'll snap her fingers at Jocelyn, who will produce a manuscript. She'll rip a few pages out of it and roll it up and tie it together with just a bit of, or with some rubber bands that are sitting on an end table. She'll hand them over to Craig. And then she'll pull out from her pocket just a small little pocket knife. She'll slice open her thumb. Drop of blood. And a basic understanding of the discipline.
And Craig, understanding the gravity of this, takes blood from Jocelyn. And afterwards, you're warm. I didn't think you'd. Yeah.
Shame that we'll never see each other again.
We won't. But I appreciate what you and Nina did for me anyway.
It's difficult to go through this life. It's suffering. It was suffering when we were alive, and it's even more suffering now. That's what makes us strong. The ones of us that realize that. As long as we continue to build on that strength and never stop the pain, it will always be far ahead of the curve than anyone else. No matter how hard it gets, Greg, don't shy away from it. Embrace it. take it into you and let it make you as hard as iron.
This will happen again. Our cycles intertwine now.
Eventually, every circle breaks. The question is, how much can you learn in the time before it does?
We'll just have to see.
That we will, Craig. That we will. She'll pull out from her bag a envelope that looks to be packed. Give this to Rex and only Rex. It has a few contact numbers that I promised him a while ago. And furthermore, it's payment for services rendered.
Consider it done.
And she will step forward and she will embrace Greg.
Yeah, level 1 blood bond. She gets a hug back. He even means it.
Aww. And as she steps back, she only wipes away a hint of a bit of a blood-red tear. Leaving you in the room with her.
If there were any justice in the world, the things we felt wouldn't be artificial. Then again, if there were any justice in the world, we wouldn't exist.
True. But the injustices that we face are what drive us forward now. Remember to practice what you've learned, Craig. Wisdom is meaningless unless it accompanies actions. She'll stand up and walk towards you.
He, for once, is not running away.
A bit of advice that I'll tack on to what Jocelyn has told you. Only through pain are we truly elevated. Had I time, I would teach you just how deep that goes. But only through pain are we reborn. To shun pain is to embrace ignorance. Everything you've suffered up to this point is a lesson. and I hope you've been a good study.
We'll just have to find out.
This is true. This is absolutely true. Are you ready then?
I am.
And she will simply sit there and take her time. What's your current willpower points, Craig?
I haven't spent any, so 6.
6. Jeez peasy. Five successes. It was better even than the Tremere had. Craig, as the sun comes out, you're back in your haven. You remember only vague hints of what occurred once you sank your fingers into those prongs. Horrific nightmares that when you try to think on, there's only a horrific static that makes your head hurt. Not in a way that would make you fall to the ground, but more like a ringing in your ears, a nagging ringing. All you know is that a good friend left in the middle of the night. She had the decency enough to say goodbye and to teach you something. And the parting words that she gave you about pain and suffering, and that as long as you put the books in the hands of anyone but the Tremere, or those that were allied to the Tremere, that they would be safe, are all that remain, without subterfuge, without lie. The honesty within your head. That's enough. You know that you met and ran from a very old and very dangerous member of the Red List. And as you put yourself into your light, tight room, can't help but feel perhaps the slightest pangs of a sense of loss, as if though a good friend and teacher has left you forever. And as he goes to lay down, what are his last thoughts before he closes his eye to enter into torpid sleep?
On nights like this, when it hurts this much, Do you ever think of me? Do you ever think of what you made? I can't die until I get the answer. And then I'm gonna rip out your heart.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing, and thank you, watchers, for watching.